only thing that would change would be a change to natural rate of unemployment. And that would mean a change to frictional or structural unemployment. An example that AP likes to use, there might be other examples, but is a change to unemployment benefits. So if you increase unemployment benefits, people are willing to be frictionally unemployed longer, you would have higher than 5% natural rate of unemployment. If you get rid of unemployment benefits, people are unwilling to be unemployed, therefore the natural rate of unemployment would decrease. But other than that, it's always at 5%. If we move A, we're at 5%, and we go here, we're saying this is a recession, this is greater than 5%. Here is an inflationary gap, we're less than 5%. Let's go to our loanable funds. This is real interest rate, supply of loanable funds. The rate you're actually getting for your loanable funds, for borrowing money, for getting interest, which you can't control, for getting inflation, which you can't control, is based on the availability of loanable funds. How willing are people to lend? How willing are people to demand to borrow money? So this is basically people's savings, and this includes foreign sector, and this is demand for borrowing, specifically investment spending. Investment spending is spending on capital stock. So this is very tight, closely tied to long-run growth of an economy. So if real interest rates go down, capital stock goes up, long-run growth increases. If real interest rates decrease, if real interest rates increase, investment spending goes down, capital stock slows, long-run aggregate or long-run growth slows or decreases. So this is willing to borrow, this is willing for saving. Other things that affect this, if people are optimistic, if businesses are optimistic about the future, they're more likely to expand. If businesses are pessimistic to the future, they are less likely to spend, to demand, to investment spend, demand goes down. So if people believe a recession is coming, it's not a great time to open up a new store. And this sets real interest rates. Let me just tie into that. If real interest rates go up, long-run growth goes down because investment spending goes down. If real goes down, long-run growth goes up because investment goes up in capital stock. So real interest rates are very important. Government deficit. So if the government goes into deficit spending, they will demand more loanable funds, or you could also say there is less loanable funds available. There are fewer loanable funds available. Supply shifts left. Either way, real interest rates go up. Either way you interpret it, the AP will allow you to do both. Now, once in a while, there's like an obvious only demand or only supply change. We have this on one of the practice FRQs where it said like the government decreases tax rate on individual savings. So if that happens, people are going to save more, then supply increases. That's obviously not demand. You could do both, but if it's just like the government pursues more deficit spending, I mean, you can shift supply, just shift demand there. It's like more obvious they're demanding more loanable funds. Government surplus. Same thing, same idea, not the same thing, obviously. Sorry, this is real. A lot of graphic today. So here, if there's a surplus, now they have money to lend out. So you can either say the supply of loanable funds increases, or you could also say they're no longer demanding loanable funds. So the demand decreases. Either way, real interest rates drop. It doesn't matter. They will never ask you, they will never ever ask you about quantity. They'll always ask you about how does this affect investment spending or how does this affect long-run growth. And again, if real interest rates go up, investment spending goes down, long-run growth goes down. If real interest rates go down, investment spending goes up, long-run growth goes up. Model for foreign exchange. So we have X per dollar versus dollar per X. So here it's going to be, because the dollar's on the bottom here, it's the supply of dollars, demand for dollars, the E, which is the price of dollars, quantity of dollars. Here we have supply of currency X, demand of currency X, E, quantity of currency X. So let's say the real interest rate between these two countries, let's say in the United States the real interest rate is 3%, and let's say in this country, country X, the real interest rate is 3%. Let's say something occurs in country X, let's say there's a recession, and then they pursue deficit spending, and let's say the real interest rate increases to 5%. Now, two things are going to happen simultaneously. Money will flow from the U.S. to country X. So that's going to manifest itself in two ways. One, Americans are going to be taking their money outside the United States to the market of foreign exchange, so the supply of dollars will increase. This depreciates the U.S. dollar. At the same time, Americans need currency X to invest, or sorry, to save money in country X, so they're demanding more of this currency, which means this currency appreciates. These things are happening simultaneously. We have an increase of supply because money is flowing from the U.S. to country X. At the same time, we have a demand of country X. So the country X currency appreciates, U.S. currency, the dollar depreciates.
Can you think of it like the supply increases for that one because you need, like, they have to supply more money so people can transfer it over?
No, because again, I don't want you to think of like the supply of money changing. There's no change to the supply of money here. All that's happening is money is leaving the country. So I want to do my bad drawing again because I think it helps. This is Japan. This is the U.S. And this is the market for foreign exchange. And let's say instead of country X, let's say they both have 3% interest rates, and then the interest rates here climb to 5%. Well, Americans are going to send their dollar outside of the United States to buy yen so that they can buy bonds. They need the yen to buy the Japanese bond. So what's happening over here is the demand is increasing, the yen appreciates. Here, supply increases, the US dollar depreciates. And it's all happening outside of the United States and Japan. Think of it that way. So they're demanding more of the foreign exchange, they're supplying more of the foreign exchange. So there's no more money. There's no more dollars, there's no more yen. It's just money outside of the US. And demand of yen demanded outside the US. All right, let's do some things together. How a recession can increase value of currency. So we have a crash, something happens, stock market goes down, and we're in a recession. Two things are going to happen here. So over here, I'll do this. This is going to be my market for foreign exchange. This will be X per dollar, supply of dollar, demand of dollar. So two things are going to happen. One, price level goes down. So because of this, goods and services cheaper in the US, which means foreigners are going to buy more goods and services. Let's say also at this time, the government increases government spending. They pursue expansionary fiscal policy. Because they're in a recession, they're demanding more loanable funds, the real interest rate goes up. Based on the real interest rate going up, foreigners want to save. So if the US goes into recession, what can happen, now this isn't every time, there are other extenuating circumstances that can exist, but since price levels are lower, the dollar will appreciate. Additionally, if the government does expansionary fiscal policy, real interest rates go up. Even if they don't, though, so even if the government doesn't do this, let's take this out of here, what's going to happen is the government is probably going to have to borrow more money anyway because real incomes have gone down, so taxable income has gone down, so revenue of the government has gone down. Additionally, their transfer payments, Social Security and unemployment benefits have gone up. So either way, this is going to cause an increase to the demand of loanable funds, which would appreciate the dollar. We'll end with that.